Live from YMSL Studios, welcome to the Doug Less Report. I'm your host, Bobby Morabia, with to my left, NRJ as usual. Saban is on assignment in Oklahoma City covering the NBA Finals for our sister station ABC. And Norman, another great week in the YMSL.
We say it every week, Bob. Another week, more craziness, more things that you can never imagine, and I'm sure we'll get into all of it.
Some things never change. Another protest by Eddie Michon. We'll discuss that later.
Yep.
Normally we would start with you since you're sitting to our left, but with that pitiful matchup over Memorial 3, I don't even know if we're going to even cover it at all.
A couple of good ball games, by the way, but I understand that we're not headline news right now.
No. The big story, and don't look now, but AB Saka's Fountain of Youths are red hot and back to last year's memorable run. He started out 1-5 last year, won the championship. Now 2-6. He's pulled off 4 in a row. He's at 6-6. And to me, that story, along with, for the first time all year, we have a new first place team.
Yes, we do. AB Saka, anybody that was counting him out has not been paying attention to the league the last few years. Yes, he was 2-6, but he's still a top pitcher in the league, if not the top pitcher. You cannot count this guy out. Anyone that does will learn again and again and again that he comes back every year.
And, we talk about how he has no offense, but he made a couple of great moves. First of all, he picked up David Harari in a trade before the deadline. And David Harari, with all his problems in the field, is an RBI machine, and he desperately needed offense. And Edmund Dweck, who's not hitting at all now for the Twins, so far that trade is looking very good. He also moved Nathan Batesh to the leadoff spot, and he's a great defensive player, but now he's been hitting lights out over 400 on the year. And the main move, I think, the best pick he made, and is without a doubt, is superstar in the making, Erwin Cohen.
I said it early on at the draft. I love the way Erwin Cohen plays. He's very similar to his older brother, who's a first-round pick, A.B. Cohen, and he's playing left right now. I still think on that team he should be the center fielder, and Eli should move over to left. But for whatever reason, you got to give the big contract to the first-round pick, and therefore he's playing center. But I still think he's the best outfielder on the team. Excellent arm. And this team all around, very similar to AB Saka's team last year, even though there's no same players. Right. They have good D. Yeah. They're not the best hitters in the world, and they have this beast on the mound.
Yeah, they have AB Saka. And again, nobody's the AB Saka hitting 230, Tabelli not hitting but playing great D, so that you're going to see a lot of low-scoring games, and this week was no exception, 2-0 and 4-3. But right now they are just on fire, and major test this week. They got the unknowns coming up, coming off a bye week, so we're really going to see how they fare this week, and I'm excited to see this team the rest of the way.
By the way, there's excellent highlights of this game. If you want to check the website, you could look at all the highlights. I don't want to get ahead and talk about next week, but I'm very confident in AB Saka's Fountain of Youths right now. I played against them already. I was very impressed by this team, and we played them when they were 2-6, so you could blame us for starting this. But as soon as we played them, I said immediately, this is not a 2-6 team. Right. This team is a definite championship contender. No doubt in my mind, and I think they're going to fare very well against the unknowns next week.
Yeah, and you also actually predicted a shutout.
I did.
AB Saka one of the games, and sure enough, it did happen. And again, no surprise there. And
well, he was facing a very weak hitting team, which I'm sure we'll delve into that as well.
Certainly, their production has been weak, but not on paper.
No, not on paper at all.
Yeah.
Well, it starts with JT.
Yeah.
He's not hitting, and he's the top hitter in the league. He's batting .364.
JT at this time last year was hitting .678.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a major thing. And down the line, we mentioned Edmund Dweck, a perennial 450, 500 hitter, hitting 200.
Even the role players, Edward Benjamin, 229 instead of 300 at least. Everybody, a couple of hits here, a couple of hits there. That's the difference in this league. That's all it is.
There's two guys with great averages, Eddie Michon and Malak. But again, they're defensively a little shaky on the left side.
Well,
there.
Speaking of Jimmy Malak, from what I understand from my sources in this game, defensively he was a huge liability in this game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you were there to witness what went down.
I saw a couple of them actually. We sent him a bill. He did lose 4 balls, throwing them out in first base into the forest over there. Both games he had a rough day, well, I got to tell you something, and I won't reveal the name because I was told this in confidence, but somebody on the Twin team told me after Jimmy Malak lost us both games today. They put the blame solely on that one guy that's hitting. This guy has a ton of heart. I saw him in the tournament before I ever met him 2 years ago, before he joined the league. He broke his arm, went to the hospital, got a cast. Before the end of the day, ripped the cast off and finished the tournament in softball. So this is a guy you want on your team. He's a diehard. He's a diehard.
Complete diehard. Clearly had a rough day defensively, but his team, that locker room seems to be a mess because his team was throwing him under the bus in the parking lot.
And ironically, he lost his cool a little bit and started going off on the team. I guess the frustration started to build up with the lack of offense, and he said, "This is the worst team I ever played on." And
and this is coming from a guy that played last year.
Yeah.
on a train wreck,
It's one of the worst organizations in YMSL history last year.
This side of the Bachelorette, of course. But that, it all starts with the leader. It all starts with JT. And if he's not hitting, how much can he really lead the team? How much can he get everyone to get their act together if he's not doing it himself? And it's uncharacteristic of himself to be batting .364.
I mean, their whole stat line is mind-boggling. Myers Safdie gave, if I would have told you, only gave up 33 runs in 10 games.
It's crazy.
And they've only scored 41. So every game is low 4-3 games, and it's just, they're not getting a big hit when they need it. They're just, they're making errors at the wrong time. And I don't know what else you can expect from 11th round pick Myers Safdie.
It's absolutely amazing that this guy leads the league in ERA and this team can't win for him. It is absolutely amazing.
You would think they'd be 10-0 by right now with what's
if
going
you
on.
Told me he's going to give up 30 runs in 10 games, of course. It's crazy. It's crazy, and he's getting frustrated also, by the way.
It's very hard to keep. You're pitching and you're giving up 2-3 runs a game, and they can't even score that. I mean,
and their D is stellar. Yeah. So so it's not only him; it's the D as well. He's not exactly striking out 10 guys a game, but he leads the league in ERA, and the team cannot hit for him. It's a terrible situation right now, and I keep on thinking it's going to turn around with who they have on their team, with their roster, but every week.
Yeah, do we say that every week? But the games are dwindling down, and they got this week a good opportunity with Mabadev and Mikey Shalom to possibly get their bats together. But they haven't hit against anybody, so we don't know when it's going to start, and the frustration is building.
Yes.
And really, it's just it's a matter of time. I guess once JT gets going, that could be the difference.
I can't imagine JT not having a huge week against the Mabadev team. I cannot imagine it. And then that'll mask all the drama that's going on in their locker room, which there is a lot of, and which I'm sure they'll deny. But I saw this team after these 2 losses, and each one was pointing fingers. I'm sure they'll have a decent time against Mabadev, and that'll mask it for another week, and then we'll see from there what happens.
To their credit, they've had 3 walk-off losses in brutal fashion, so, a couple of things either way, and it could be a whole different story, but I expect them to rebound, so we'll talk about that a little later. But back to A.B. Saka's team, they're in a great situation now at 6-6, and right in the thick of things, and almost, looks like they could clinch a playoff spot. I don't anticipate him again. He gives up 3 runs a game, and if they can put any offense together, if Eli Harari starts hitting, and some of these other guys, there could be some problem. They're getting production from Robert Braha.
Yeah.
And, it just and David Harari, 15 RBIs on the year.
But you mentioned Erwin Cohen. He's leading the team with a 500 average. Also, it's interesting to note AB himself, because of his surgery or whatever, he's not even hitting yet. Yeah. He, last year, was the best hitter on their team. Right. So he's going to come around as the season goes along. this team is a dangerous, dangerous team. I think the teams that got to play Fountain of Youth early in the season were luckier, and the teams that have to play him now are a little unluckier.
Yeah, well, he made some trade. He worked on his roster, and I think he did a great job, putting the pieces together, and he knew it was going to be a defensive team, and with his pitching, that's all you really need. So it's going to be interesting. I'd like to make a shout out on one person on that team, Zach Goldberg, who graduated from JEC on Sunday morning in Elizabeth, and immediately as soon as he got his diploma, he flew down to from Elizabeth to Memorial.
What time is their graduation?
9:30 in the morning, and he came running on the field for Game 2. And this is why the YMSL is what it is, because people are dedicated. And
V. Goldberg was even here for Game 1, so I guess he knows what's important.
Yeah, he said his son didn't even want to go to the graduation at all.
Wow.
But he made an effort, and he drove there, and he got there, and that's dedication that we like to see.
Yeah.
And a great fielder, by the way. And for rookies, he's seeing a lot of playing time.
A lot of good rookies across the league, and on this team, Jacob Jamal struggling lately, but got off to that hot start. And AB actually told me that he's a good catcher. He's starting to, not just sit there, catch the ball and throw it back. He's starting to get more involved. So I think the future of the league is bright. This team is the epitome of it. Irwin in the outfield. He's got, how old is he? What is he, 22, 23 years old?
Irwin?
How old is he now?
18, 19. He's a young kid.
Wow. Unbelievable. So he's
a star. No, in another year or two, he'll be a second-round pick. I mean, center fielder. Just like AB. AB started out in left field, and, so they're definitely going to be along the lines of the Brajas, maybe, with competing center field positions and
bold statement, but could be, yeah, could definitely
not that level, but
not that level, but yeah, different center fielders on different teams for sure.
But star center fielders and great young talent. So that was it for that game. Now the other big matchup was on Memorial 1, which was the Marlins versus Malbadev. Malbadev coming off a sweep, and they're a full team back, and this was a couple of close. The first game was not so close. They had some episodes. Eliezer overslept, missed his ride, had to take a cab to the game from Brooklyn.
Well, from what I hear, his teammates sent him a car service or something like that.
Yes, courtesy of his good friend Elliot Pesh, for the most part, picked up most of the tab. But that was again great gesture, but again shows the dedication to come. And but right now the big story is the Marlins offense. They're starting to find a little bit of an offense, and right now they're sitting in sole possession of first place by virtue of sweeping the unknowns.
Right. I'm not surprised here. I hate to brag about my predictions. I picked the Marlins in the beginning of the year as the best team in the league. Jeffrey Saka continues to pitch beautifully, and I knew playing against Malbadev that they were going to sweep very easily, and sure enough they did. 13-4, 7-3. The games weren't even as close as the score indicates. And the Marlins are still not hitting to their potential.
Right.
So,
although Sammy Tal did definitely help his cause this week. His average was 222 last week, I think it was.
Yeah.
Now it's up to 3.
He went 4 for 5 with 6 runs scored this week. So Sammy Tal was on the carousel of the bases all day long. But the key to this team is Jeffrey Saka, and he continues to revert back to his form from the late 80s, early 90s.
And a couple of key players I want to talk about. Solly and Towell, always known as a great defensive third baseman, still is, has found his offensive mindset. Hitting over 400 this year, so that's a big plus for them. And now they're hitting now a little bit, and I think this rookie Sam Michon is starting to find his niche, starting to feel a little more comfortable, and. Again, A.B. Cohen, the other half of the Cohen brothers, hitting at 464. So, but you actually became part of the Marlin extended family, from what I hear. I heard from what my sources told me last week. Friday night, you had dinner by Jeffrey Saka's house.
I did.
Saturday lunch by Sammy Towell's house. And then when you got home from the field Sunday, you had a big bucket of wings, courtesy of the wingman.
The wingman, true.
So,
by the way, I haven't heard of the wingman this year. Is he still sponsoring?
Yes, he is. So you certainly put on some weight in that aspect. But
the Marlins are happy.
I'm surprised that he's coming orange and blue today.
The Marlins are happy with me that I recognized their team early on as what I thought was the best team on paper. Did they start 0-2, by the way? Or no?
No, that was
1-1. Okay, fine. So they started off a little slowly, but look at this team. They have the pitching, they have the hitting, which they haven't shown yet, which they're going to still show, and they have great D all around. Mabadev cannot compete with this team. By the way, I think we have a call over here.
Oh, let's see.
AB from Oakhurst.
Okay. AB, you're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Hey, AB, this must be AB Saka, the red hot AB Saka. How are you, AB?
I don't know how red hot. My back seems to be ice cold, but okay.
Well, you're not drafted for your offense, that's for sure. AB, I know you got to be. I got to tell you, you've worked awfully hard to improve your roster, and right now, some of the moves seem to have paid off.
I mean, when you go back into the draft and look at my team now, I'm very excited with my team. We have obviously a very young team, but definitely a fun team. There's not a guy on our team that's not, you look around and they have smoke on their face. Everybody's been excited to play, which is what I wanted. And when you count on the fact that I thought that we brought the team back to 500, with pretty much throwing our seventh pick out the window, it's pretty incredible.
It seems like deja vu all over again from last year. Your team started terrible. Everyone started writing you off, and that's when your team started getting it together and getting on a hot streak. Do you see similarities between last year, or is there a difference?
I think the only similarities between last year and this year is instead of Svi, I have Svi's son. Instead of Nathan Vitesha, instead of Steven Vitesha, I have his son Nathan.
You got younger. That's all.
So you're passing the torch along to the next generation on how to come back on a season. You mentioned your bat, and last year your bat in the middle of the lineup was probably the strongest one on your team. This year you didn't even start hitting yet. Is this injury related, or are you just in a slump, or what's the story with your bat?
I mean, like anything else in softball, you have a few hard hits that you hit, guys make a great play. You just can't get those bats. Like the week we played Jeffrey Sackett's team, A.B. Cohen, phenomenal fielder, made a couple of diving catches on me in the outfield. The week I played Barsham, and he made some plays on me in the hole that probably not any other shortstop made. I mean, it's just some breaks that's just not going my way. Last week, no excuse on my part, I just had a terrible hitting week. But the thing is, when you look back, I'm not hitting, we're still 6-6. Eli Harari starting to pick it up a little bit. And the constants in our lineup really have been Nathan Vitesh, Irwin, and Eshko, just continually hitting week after week.
By the way, we didn't mention it. When I played you guys last week, Eshko was very, very strong at shortstop. This guy's got a cannon of an
arm.
I mean,
I think it's on.
I want to touch actually on one of the things you guys said about the outfield, saying about Erwin Cohen.
Yes.
Who should be in center, who should be in left. Listen, don't think it goes unnoticed on our team. We play with the guy every week. That Erwin Cohen is a special player. I mean, in my eyes, this kid is a center fielder on any team. The only difference is on our team, we drafted Eli to play center. He hasn't really done anything to lose that job, so it's very hard to make a switch. I mean, Norman, I think you could recall, he made a phenomenal diving catch on you last week.
Yeah, thanks a lot. On hit, and I was actually going to get a hit, and this guy makes a diving catch on Eli. Maybe because I've been bashing him all year for drafting him first.
You have to have a double, maybe a triple in the gap, have some Eli out of nowhere diving like Superman. But like I said, the reason we don't make the switch is, I think left field is a very important position as well, where Irwin's getting the balls in left field, the guys are just hitting monster shots, and he's catching the ball that, honestly, if Eli's in left field, he's not catching.
Right.
To say that he's my strongest outfielder and he's not in the right position, I just think that between him and why our defense has been so good.
And actually, Ezra Tabelli has really been playing a pretty solid right field, more than you probably expected.
I'll tell you, I drafted him last overall, and the reason I drafted him, I'm friends with him. I put a basketball with him. Before the draft, I told him, listen, I'm picking you, but if I pick you, if I play you one game here and there, I don't want you to complain to me. He got his shot. Amazing to me that Douglas Fleck had him as the backup catcher last year, and this kid's turning out to be, a true right fielder for years to come.
The more you analyze Douglas DeWeck, the more you'll be amazed. Ezra Tabelli's also batting close to 300 as well. So for him to fall that far in the draft, he's a valuable player to have on the team because he can catch, he can play the outfield, and he can hit.
I mean, if you look at my last 3 or 4 picks, I think it's the reason why we're able to trade without a 7th round that we traded out. Jason Bissett playing a phenomenal third base, and I mean a phenomenal third base. He might even be up for a Gold Glove. I haven't really seen that many other third basemen in the league. Then you have Robert Braha, who's this kid's like a lightning bolt of energy.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's the truth. He's an unbelievable team player. Big spark play, hitting .333, getting some contribution from him also.
And it's been exciting. We're a young team. We're finally clicking. Hopefully, the boys figured out how much fun it is to win as opposed to lose. And hopefully we'll keep going. I mean, we have a tough challenge this week in the unknown.
Yeah, I'm excited about this matchup this week. I think it's a feature game this week against the unknowns. Are coming off a bye week. So I think it's a great test for your franchise, and we'll see what you can continue this ride.
And not only coming off a bye week where they had 2 weeks to think about getting from a different factor. So, they're definitely going to come out with the vengeance. Definitely going to be tough, but hopefully our defense could hold up and our offense could come through for a little bit. Maybe I can actually get it in next week.
All right, AB. Thanks for the call, and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks.
By the way, he mentioned this young team is starting to enjoy the win. Very, very dangerous when a young team is losing because you could fall apart.
Yeah.
But when a young team is winning, they become like a freight train.
Yeah.
And like I said before, these unknowns are going to have a lot of trouble with them when we get to the prediction segment later.
Yeah,
they're going to have a tough time.
They're also young, so it's going to be interesting. Also, the big thing everybody talks about is young teams, how they handle pressure in the playoffs, and what that remains to be seen. I think once they get there, but you have an experienced guy like AB, we'll talk about that. When we do the predictions. Now, they next big matchup was. We'll leave yours for last.
Save the best for last, as they say.
Over at Meadowbrook, Saban Sanity versus Insane.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we don't have too many friends on the Insane organization.
No.
Because we don't really give them too much props, and we don't think highly of them. But they are a very solid team.
Yeah.
And Marty's definitely keeps things under control there, and Jack. But they had a big week this weekend, Saban Sanity. And again, game one is the theme of the whole year for Saban Sanity. And, this is an issue that is not going to go away with Jack Moabit giving up 7, 8 walks in the first game, walked in a few runs. From what I hear, there was a couple of players on this team that actually were like to Saban, put in Moses.
Of course. I mean, they brought Moses there, and now he's going to have to deal with this. And Saban tried sitting here last week and tried making it like Jackie Moabit's job is safe, and it's fine, and there's nothing to worry about. And me and you kept on pushing him on that, and, there's a reason he brought in Moses, and that reason was shown in game one. Walk. Moses was... There were whispers on that team to bring in Moses, like you just said. It's going to be a ticking time bomb the entire time.
Even they're winning, and I mentioned this to Max and a couple of other guys. I mean, it's all good when you're winning, so that's why there's no pressure to make the move. But as a fielder, I got to imagine it's got to be extremely, extremely frustrating to sit in 3-0, 3-1 counts and 7-8 walks. I mean,
even major leaguers admit that.
I know.
A pitcher that takes a long time on the mound and starts walking people. Major league best players in the history can't focus like that.
Right.
Let alone the clowns we have in our league on Save on Saturday.
Yeah. So, I mean, the first game, they're all over him, 15-6. Steven Matesh, a huge day, 7 RBIs, 6 for 7. You know, who else? Jake Dweck had another big week. So that's going to be an interesting issue.
And Lee Zakaria came. He's been struggling all year. He had a 4 for 8 week. He's up to 379 now. That's more towards the level where he usually is. So Insane finally broke out, and leading into game 2, let's remember Insane won some crazy games this year, but eventually some of that starts to even out. So why don't you walk us through the exciting game here?
Yeah, you know, I find the whole thing ironic is that the name Douglas Sweck is not even mentioned as a potential backup when guys walking 8 like guys. I mean, even to throw an inning to give Morabia a rest.
He was drafted in the 5th round as a pitcher. It's amazing. Meyer was drafted in the 13th round. Douglas was drafted as a top 5 or 6 pitcher, man.
In the 5th round.
He was drafted before Morabia, before Meyer, before Moses and Red. He was drafted before Mikey Shalom. He was drafted before all these guys.
He went from a 1st to 4th string, amazing, in the 5th round. So Sabon Sanity, the backs were really against the wall for this for game 2. Morabia pitched much better. Didn't walk anybody, but our sources were telling us that that's because he was lobbing them over and then blocking the ball in game 2. So he was conscious of getting ahead. And this was a great game. And why don't you give us the details as far as the last inning when...
Wild situation. Insane. Up by a run. Okay? Man on third, 1 out. Max Sutton at the plate. On deck, my brother, Joseph Jamal. Everyone's wondering, are they going to intentionally walk Max? Now, that's putting the go-ahead run on base, which is a baseball no-no in general by the book. Or are they going to pitch to Max? What are they going to do? They're going to intentionally walk him to get to Joseph or pitch to Max? They decide, let's pitch to Max. I don't know if it was the first pitch, second pitch, whatever it was. Max clocked the ball for a 2-run walk-off home run, and Sabon Sanity completely stole that ball game out of Insane's hands. Completely stole that ball game.
And you know, Marty Jamal, being an old-time baseball enthusiast, he didn't really he didn't really talk to the media afterwards about as far as why, or even if it crossed his mind to walk Max. I do know Max did not have a great day, but to Max's credit, he's got 10 hits on the year, and 3 of them are monster home runs.
Right.
So he does have a lot of power behind. All he needed was really a fly ball. Bub was after that. I don't know if he would have got a double play, but he might have,
I mean, I spoke to Insane. I understand the argument. I may even agree with it because actually, my brother doesn't have the power, but he's having a good year. He's batting well. I think where's his average over here? He went 1 for 6 yesterday, terrible, but he's still around 400.
Right.
And their key thing was why put the winning run on base, an error, or this or that. You know what happens in this league. So they said, let's just pitch to Max. He's not having a tremendous year, but like you said, he has power, Max, and he could end the game, and he did.
And that was a monster shot. I mean, that it was almost a Meadowbrook 2. He clocked it. Again, I don't know who was up after Bub, just thinking ahead, but it's probably towards the end of the batting order.
It's very easy to second guess. I don't even know what the right move is. If Jack Jamal is listening or whatever and wants to take us into the huddle, he's more than welcome to if he's still talking to either of us. But I can't kill them for the move, but it's just a game that you can't let get away. And let's not let Leo Casson completely off the hook. You can't give up a home run there.
Yeah. That was,
he clocked the ball from every account that I heard from both teams. The ball still hasn't landed, so he's got to get tough there. He cannot give up a walk-off home run there.
Yeah, that was way over Sonny's head. I mean, they just kept going. So say, like, as you mentioned, Sabon really should have gotten swept in this situation. It would have been so now they remain in second place at 7-3, still sitting pretty, but they're going to have that question lingering until
another thing with Morabia. every other pitcher is allowed to throw a walk here or there, and not everybody gets crazy. What this team did by making the Moses move is every time he walks a guy, you start hearing the birds chirping, bring in Moses, he's walking too many people, which resulted in game 2 where he was just lobbing the ball over. He's a good pitcher, but now you added an element of insanity to this team. So for what reason? What is Moses really going to do for this team? I don't know. I hate the move that they made, and I think it's going to be detrimental in the long run.
Well, a couple of teammates have gone off the record to say that they hope Moses gets game 1 start.
Right.
Just to see what he could do. You're going up against the red hot Marlins this week. I don't know if this is the time to really throw in Moses, but it's a tough week, and Saban Sandy, besides that issue, suffered a big loss this week. Eddie Hakeem out for the year with an injury.
Huge loss. This guy in a stacked lineup is one of their constants in the lineup.
Yeah, he's a perennial 550 hitter, and you put him, Saban, and Ali. That's murderer's row. So they got to try to fill the void of checking out the waiver wires and see what's out there. But a big loss for Saban.
Huge loss. He was actually fielding well this year as well.
Yeah.
Saban Sanity ran into a little bit of bad luck here, and it's going to be interesting to see who they get, who they're allowed to get, and if it's going to be a good enough replacement. Eddie Hakeem is a top hitter.
Yeah, and he's I think he's been hitting he's 484 in the fours. He was on fire. I think he slowed down a little bit.
457 with power. Triple 5 doubles. 5 doubles Eddie Hakeem has.
Very little RBIs this year for him normally. He's usually around the 12, 15 by now. But no question about it. It's going to be interesting to see how they recover. So now for the huge matchup over at Memorial 3 between the Dallas 2 coming in at 2-8 versus Project X
2-6.
2-6, and unfortunately we had no media coverage there, so we really don't know what happened. But actually it was a very good game. Actually, game 1.
He's lying, by the way. He was there. Albert was there. You guys represented well.
Actually, I had a hard time sleeping the night before. I thought this would help a little bit, and it did. Took a nap on the bench, but it was a great game. The first game, actually.
It was. Got to give credit to Red Nesser, the guy. We say it every week, every year. Guy still manages to get it done for a limited amount of time.
Keyword, limited.
Exactly. And again, the Moses Red. Maybe that would have been the best union, But the first game was a very good game. The Dallas 2 squad started off early. They scored 3 runs very early in the game. Project X tried clawing back into it. Eventually, the score was 4-3 late with Dallas on top, and then that score actually held. Nobody scored in the last few innings. Project X looked like they were going into their usual coma that they usually do when they're down. It was 4-0. We managed to get back with 3 runs to make it 4-3. And in the last inning, we actually had men on base, and we just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, big double play, and Maurice Haber grounded into double play. The bracket is Stephen Mitesh and killed a rally, and Jason Marshall popped up to end the game. And Dallas 2 has a bye this week, mercifully. This team, nobody is doing anything. I mean, you take Hank away from the team. Honestly, if I was an opposing captain, I'd walk him every single time, even if there's nobody on base. I mean,
Hank made a play in the field. I know you're talking about his bat, but he made a play in the field. Seriously, one of the best I've ever seen. I'm playing in this league 10, 11, 12 years. This guy made on a hard ground ball in the hole that everyone assumed was in left field. Full extension dive, got up and threw a strike to first base to get the runner out. Both teams couldn't believe their eyes after this play.
Wow.
It was unbelievable, but yeah, he's the center of their team. This team has some other good hitters, believe it or not. Charles Haddon, first pitch of the game, hit a triple or something like that. Jackie Haddon could still hit. Yeah. Nathan Towell, still, he gets up there.
Yeah. It's a threat. It's a threat. And, but just the problem is they're not bunching up hits. They're not, everybody seems like 1 through 12 has got some sort of nagging injury. That
Yes,
just,
they're very, very old.
Yeah.
You know, Braca, Dash, Jack Haddad, Nathan. Nathan has something with his shoulder. He can't throw. And when the ball is hit the left field, he actually throws it to the center fielder, and the center fielder throws it in. And they still almost got us on a tag-up, by the way, to second base.
You know, this team came into the season with gray hairs, and they're all going to be leaving with Stefan Matesha after this. So it's you know, a lot of questions, and unbelievably so, is they're still mathematically alive for playoffs.
Yeah, hey, if they
which
win
is
out,
all you can ask for. The bad news is the last 2 weeks against AB Saka, Red Hot, and the unknown. So they might have to run the table.
They got no shot then if they got to run the table. They got no shot.
But who knows? It's the YMSL. Crazier things have happened.
This would be up there, though. If they could sweep the Fountain of Youths and the Unknowns, they'll have to hope these other teams are playing for nothing and they get a little healthier. Ben Kane, by the way, very good player. He caught first game, and then he played second base game 2. Very good second baseman.
Yeah, very good second baseman.
And I asked him, why are you catching game 1? And he said, I do whatever they tell me to do. But he's a very good second baseman in the future for, well, maybe this team, they're out of it really. Maybe they should experiment.
Well, I'll tell you why he catches, because Red wants him to be his personal catcher because he's a very good catcher. But they're losing something at second base when he catches. So it's a catch-22, and Red was a little upset. He caught the first game, and he did a great job, and they moved him to second base the second game. And Red told him, why would you do that to me when the guy's my personal catcher, and I need him, I like him there, and he comes out, he calms me down.
Personal catcher, right. And he's not, by the way, even from second base, he was going to the mound to try to calm down Red.
Yeah.
So
he's a great young leader, and he's not hitting too much this year. Last year, got a lot of big hits for the Lee Zacharias team, but
as expected on a team like this with this record, there is some controversy. Stefan Matesh played first base in game 1. Dash then moved to first base in game 2. Dash, of course, feels he's the better first baseman. He should always play first base. Stefan moved to catcher. We just said Red doesn't want him at catcher. So there are a lot of moving parts here that, but it's expected on a team like this. Very, very old team, very evident when you play them. Although their outfield defensively is solid. Nathan, Charles Haddad, Jack Haddad. Very, very, very good outfield. Nathan and Henry at shortstop, like they have the pieces, but I think collectively they're just all too old.
Right.
You can have 1 or 2 old guys on your team.
It's always good to have a couple of old guys. You need that. Yeah. But also your pitcher can't be the oldest guy.
That's the problem.
So, the truth is, had they been this team with, hey, maybe even a Max Yadid even or something like who could field or something that could give it a little bit of it might have been a different story. But listen, they're still alive, so who knows? Maybe the bye week will cure their nagging injuries. And but let's talk about the inside rumblings of your organization.
Oh boy,
3-7. Maurice Haber, as we mentioned last week, is keeping a very low profile with the media. So maybe you can give us some insight on what's going on in that.
Sure. First of all, winning the second game was huge win for us. It puts us at 3-7 instead of 2-8. We met as a team after the win. Always better to win game 2 if you have to win one of them, in my opinion, because you feel good going away. And basically, we said, listen, we had so many games this season that we should have and could have won. Everyone knows famously against the Unknowns, we were up 6-0 in the first inning. We had a 2-run homer. The guy missed the base. So instead of going 8-0, it stayed at 6-0, and we blew the game. And then we got killed in the next game. The next week, we lost on a ground ball to shortstop. Ali Marshall scored from second base on a ground ball to short. I was there. I witnessed it. How it happened, I still have no idea. So there's 2-3 games that we clearly could have won, and we'd be right in the middle of the pack. We've played some of the better teams. We've played close with them, and we could potentially be 9-7 at the end of the year. So we're, by any stretch, we're not out of it. We're just playing like crap, and we got to get better.
Well, our experts have sort of come out with the formula that 7 wins is probably going to get teams into the playoffs. So you probably got to go 4-2, which is not
impossible.
Not impossible, and anything could happen. But are you confident your team is is a playoff team.
I am. I really think my team is going to be in the playoffs, and I do not think any team would pick us to play us when they have the choice. Who would want to face Maxi Deed in the playoffs? Yeah. Who would want to play a lineup with some of the players that we have that can hit? They're not hitting yet. We know it's been well documented, but you don't want to face this lineup or that pitcher. I don't think so. I think if we could eke our way in there, I think we're very dangerous.
Yeah, so the best player on your team, I think, consistently this year has been Victor Dweck, without a doubt, and playing a stellar third base. Also,
Victor's been phenomenal defensively, offensively. I am most surprised at how good he could play third base. This guy makes all different plays all around him, and the throws are all there. I play football with him on Saturdays in the winter. He does not have an accurate arm with the football. He claims to be a quarterback. Right. So when I heard he's playing third base, I said, "You gotta be kidding me!" And sure enough, he's throwing the ball to first base perfectly every time. We're just struggling to get the hits at the right time, right. And I think we could wake up at any given moment.
And also, he's hitting very well this year at .444, Victor Dweck. So.
Carlos is having a great year. The week he wasn't there, we missed him a lot. We missed his bat, even though we made do in the field. Right. V did great at short, but because V went to short, we missed him at second, and the whole chain effect. But Carlos and Victor are both having great years. Steven Safdie's having a great year.
I know that Steven Safdie was moved to center field this week. Was that by design, or was Nathan Zolta injured?
No, there was no injury. It was by design. We felt that Nathan Zolta, the issue was not the fielding, it was the communication. We had a ball in a game we should have never ever lost early in the year that dropped between the right fielder and the center fielder because nobody called it. A regular fly ball that just dropped, and that's why we lost. So it kept going on. We don't know who's calling it, a collision or a thing where they came close to colliding, right. And they both ran away. So for communication purposes alone, we put Steven Safdie in center, and he screams when the ball is in the air. Move back, I got it, this and that.
Okay, good. So maybe that's a move that could change the fortunes of your team. So this week, you have a very winnable week against Insane. We'll talk about that in a second. But we always talk about YMSL Global.
Yes.
And next week you got a big thing. You're going to throw out the first pitch. The YMSL is expanding to Israel. We open up the Yud Mem Samech Lamed League in Israel. And you're throwing out the first pitch in a big matchup between the Tiberius Talets versus Mea She'ari Machloket.
Yes, very good. The Machloket are a dangerous team this year. The Yud Mem Samech Lamed League is a growing league. You can catch it on YMSL 2. And I'm happy to say me and my brothers, unfortunately, we're going to be missing the games this week because we are going over to Israel. We're just missing 1 week. Yeah. We land the next week early Sunday morning, and we're all going directly to the fields.
They actually invited Jimmy Malak to throw out the first pitch, but he wanted to throw rocks instead of so.
His team actually offered to pay for his ticket to send him out of there after the debacle.
He missed the catcher on the pitch, and so that's going to be exciting, and I'm sure that league's going to take off just like it's a counterpart over here in the
Always
US.
A pain to play the Machlokets, by the way. Every game ends in a protest.
Yeah.
There's always an argument.
GM is Eddie Mishon. So he's definitely, and there's short fuses over there. There's going to be a lot of tension in those games, but it's going to be very very exciting. Now we're going to start getting into our predictions for this upcoming week, Father's Day. And if anybody wants to call in, the number is 732 YMSL 55 or something to that effect.
7325 YMSL
55. Once again, we look forward to hearing from you. This week, Norman, it's a big week for you too. It's your first Father's Day, so
yes.
I'm sure you got a lot of exciting things planned with baby Paulette.
Yes, that's true. I'm interested to see in what she got for me. I be going to Babies R Us every single night on the way home for something, so it's about time she pays me back with
probably with something from Babies R Us too.
Maybe a gift card at Babies R Us.
So as a matter of fact, this week we're relocating to Dow Avenue and to Fireman's Field.
I saw that. Is there any particular reason?
Yeah, there's a huge tournament in Eatontown that they have annually. So we locate, which we happen to like the location.
I played in Fireman's Field 2 weeks ago. That field is the best. Yeah. It's local. You get there very quickly. There's even more fans because of how close it is and the seating capacity. So very good that the games are at Dow and Fireman's this week.
We should have a nice turnout, and also we might add it's 1 hour earlier this week, an 8:45 start, so we can go enjoy the day with our families. So the first game we're going to look at is your Project X versus Insane at Dow Avenue. And I like your chances this game. Again, Insane's not going to find that surprising. I don't know if you're going to get a sweep, but I definitely see a split. And I think your bats could open up again a little bit against Leo.
I think so too. I think we're going to sweep. I think coming off of our last win, when our backs were completely against the wall. Yes, we were playing red in a game too, but we did win the game. I think we're all feeling good about ourselves right now. And facing Leo Casson and Insane, I think we're going to sweep.
Yeah.
I wish I was going to be there to watch it happen though.
Oh, you're leaving Saturday night?
Yes, I will not be there for the game, unfortunately.
Who's taking over your reins over there?
I don't know. There are some backup emergency catchers there.
But that could affect Max Yadid's... that could be.
I like to take credit for Max Yadid's success, but when he's not doing so well, it's only him.
So, very interesting this week. So, we'll see. You could get back. You could be right in the thick of things.
I hope so.
The next game over at Dow Avenue is Mabadef. We thought they'd be rebounding a little bit against the Twins, who are struggling. And I think, I hate to be cruel, but I think a good cure for no offense is Mikey Shalom and the rest of this team. And with Mabadef, I think they might finally break out of it this week.
I am going to disagree. I think the Twins are going to beat up on... Oh, you're saying the Twins?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I agree.
If the Twins scored 2 runs this week, you better hang it up for the rest of the year.
I agree. I like the Twins. Meyer is not having any problem with the better offenses in the league. He's certainly not going to have a problem with the Mabadef offense. And I think the Twins are going to score enough. Maybe that means 1 or 2 to beat up on Mabadef in a sweep.
Yeah. Again, Mabadef has a very good lineup. So I don't know if it's Meyer's going to have it that easy, but I see the Twins rebounding this week. But they've had some just crazy games that we mentioned. 3 walk-off losses, which is just tough to take. So I think we're in agreement with that. To me, we mentioned before, the game of the week is at Fireman's West.
Let's leave that one for last.
Okay, so we'll do. Well, actually, another big
game.
Both
great games. East. Wow, you're right.
But we'll do Fireman's East, the red hot first place Marlins versus Saban Sanity, and we're going to find out. Saban's coming back at the end of the week. What he's going to do with his open roster spot now. Going up against the red-hot Jeffrey Saka, and I see a Marlins possibly a sweep, maybe at least one game. I don't see Saban Sanity coming close to a sweep, but I think it could be a sweep for the Marlins again.
Wow, I was going to say the same thing. I'm surprised you said that also, by the way. I thought you were going to go with the split.
I wouldn't be so surprised with a split, but if not, it's a Marlins sweep.
I agree. It's either a Marlins sweep or a split. No way Saban wins 2 games against the Marlins this week. Although I believe Saban has very good numbers against Jeffrey historically, I like the Marlins in a sweep. I think the Marlins are the cream of the crop this year, and Saban, with this pitching controversy, losing Eddie Hakeem, Joseph's not going to be there, so Maurice Sasson is playing 2 games in right field. I think there's a bunch of issues over here this week. I like the Marlins in a sweep.
Yeah, and then the final game, which I'm very excited about this matchup. The Unknowns coming off a bye week, coming off their first 2 losses of the year. It's going to be interesting to see how they rebound. The first wave they had against the red hot Fountain of Youths, and this is a real test for A.B. Saka's team, and people are going to be very interested to see how the Unknowns respond after getting swept. And you not making any friends in that organization with your quote-unquote
Oh, we're going
the
to
most overrated team in YMSL history. And that was from direct quote from your buddy Lieutenant Dan Dowell.
Yes, Lieutenant Dan was not happy with me. Now, it's not the unknowns are not the ones bragging that they're the best team in the world. It's the media.
Well, the media's just jumping on their bandwagon.
We have 15 different affiliates.
Yeah.
We have a website.
Yeah.
We have a conglomerate that's talking about YMSL nonstop, and everyone's saying, "Oh, they're 4-0, they're 6-0, they're 8-0."
Well, we were looking for that undefeated season. We were looking to,
This team is not that good. All right, and Fountain of Utes, I think, is the better team. I think Fountain of Utes sweeps the unknowns.
Wow.
The unknowns continue their tailspin and come down to earth at 8-4. They're a good team. They're a playoff team. They belong in the 8-4, 9-5 area. They're nowhere near this 8-0 nonsense that they were.
So you feel that they're not even in the top tier anymore as far as where...
I think they're an upper echelon team, and they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
I think Fountain of Utes
is
with
a
A.B.
better
Saka.
team overall.
Oh, A.B. Saka is a locomotive that's gotten charged and will not be stopped right now. A.B. Saka's team is on fire right now, and I think they're going to continue to win for a long time.
I see a split in this season. I just can't see Fountain sweeping, and I can't see the unknowns sweeping. I think AB's too hot right now. His team will keep him in the 3-run range, 3-4 runs, and this is going to be a real test for them. But the unknowns somehow, I mean, they might just lose their confidence. They get swept again. This could be a no real nosedive.
We're a long way from that, but if they get swept again, I cannot imagine what's going to happen in the unknown locker room if they go from 8-0 to 8-4. It's going to be like insane last year when they started 7-1 or whatever, and they lost all those games in a row.
And the people are going to say, "Oh well, look, they went up against Jeffrey and ABC. They can't hit good pitching." So, and they might have a valid point. So, it's definitely going to be interesting. As once again, an exciting week. And Norman, happy Father's Day to you.
You
for
too,
the first
Bob.
time. And we hope to have Saban back next week, and we'll reevaluate. We're getting close to the end of the season. Oh, actually, you won't even be here next week, so we're gonna have a replacement. We'll see what we can come up with, and
big shoes to fill over there, but I'm sure you'll come up with something.
and I'm sure you'll be watching.
We will definitely be watching a viewing party in Jerusalem.
And that would be at 3 in the morning.
Yes,
Actually.
not a problem. We'll wake up for it. No problem.
We'll see how diehard you really are, and so that'd be great. And we're looking forward to another great week, another great end of the season. It's getting down, and we're going to start in a couple of weeks doing the scenarios with the what this team needs to get in, what that
Best.
team.
I love that time of year.
And if we get to the situation where, like we did last year, where all 10 teams had a shot going into the last week, you can't ask for anything better than that. I'm sure we're headed the same way, and that's it. And
so there was a lot of talk about there possibly being a triple header this week.
Yeah, we did away with that, and we, the league does not love triple headers. It's very taxing on all the players. Father's Day especially,
right,
on the pitchers, and we're just going to go and continue the regular season. But in the playoffs, it might be a different story if necessary. We're trying to get those Friday afternoon games.
Yeah, those are great. Those are fan bonanzas.
Fan bonanza, because it's usually a deciding game also, and it's 5:15 in the afternoon, and people love those games, and they're local, and
Mazza.
Mazza and Wings and
Wings,
everything.
yes, the wingman. Also, the triple header in general isn't fair to the older pitchers. Red in a game 3. Red this year, his team is not worried about it. But let's say he's on a team like he was last year, a competitive team. You put this guy, 60-something years old, in game 3 in the heat. It's not fair. So playoffs, different story. You got to deal with what the schedule gives you. But I'm happy you decided to extend the season out and just have regular doubleheaders each week.
Yeah, we did. But keep Thanksgiving weekend open, because that's game 3 of the World Series tentatively. So hopefully we get that. And that's our show for tonight. And Norman, another great job. And we look forward to seeing everybody back next week.
Thank you, Bob. You too. We'll see you next week.